Who doesn't love efficiency? I do. Efficiency means more for less, more miles per gallon, more light per watt, more words per minute. More for less is the next best thing to something for nothing. Algorithms, big data, the cloud are giving us more for less. Are we heading towards a friction-free utopia or towards a nightmare of surveillance? I don't know. My interest is in the present, and I'd like to show you how the past can help us understand the present. All my life I've been told to be more efficient in school, in money, and in life. Efficiency is something everyone strives for. So why then does it often feel like this societal race towards efficiency is just slowing us down? Edward Tenner delves into these questions and more in his 2019 speech, The Paradox of Efficiency. There's nothing that summarizes both the promise and the danger of efficiency like the humble potato. The potato originated in the Andes and it spread to Europe from the ancient Inca. The potato is a masterpiece of balanced nutrition and had some very powerful friends. King Frederick the Great of Prussia was the first enthusiast. He believed that the potato could help increase the population of healthy Prussians, and the more healthy Prussians, the more healthy Prussian soldiers. And some of those healthy Prussian soldiers captured a French military pharmacist who was appalled at the morning, noon, and night diet fed to POWs of potatoes. But he came to enjoy it. He thought that they were making him a healthier person. And so when he was released, he took it on himself to spread the potato to France. And he, too, had some very powerful friends. Benjamin Franklin advised him to hold a banquet at which every single dish included potatoes. And Franklin was the guest of honor. Even the king and queen of France were persuaded to wear potatoes. Potato flowers, pardon me. The king wore a potato flower in his lapel and the queen wore a potato flower in her hair. That was a truly great public relations idea. But there was a catch. The potato was too efficient for Europe's good. In Ireland, it seemed a miracle. Potatoes flourished, the population grew, but there was a hidden risk. Ireland's potatoes were genetically identical. They were a very efficient breed called the lumper. And the problem with the lumper was that a blight from South America that affected one potato would affect them all. Britain's exploitation and callousness played a role, but it was because of this monoculture that 1 million people died and another 2 million were forced to emigrate. A plant that was supposed to end famine created one of the most tragic ones. The problems with efficiency today are less drastic, but more chronic. They can also prolong the evils that they were intended to solve. Take the electronic medical records. It seemed to be the answer to the problem of doctors' handwriting, and it had the benefit of providing much better data for treatments. In practice, instead, it has meant much more electronic paperwork, and physicians are now complaining that they have less rather than more time to see patients individually. The obsession with efficiency can actually make us less efficient. The biggest cost of all may be missed opportunities. The platform economy connecting buyers and sellers can be a great investment. And we have all seen that in the last few weeks, companies that are still losing hundreds of millions of dollars may be creating billionaires with initial public offerings. My answer to all these questions is inspired inefficiency. Data and measurement are essential, but they're not enough. Let's leave room for human intuition and human skills. There are 7 facets of inspired inefficiency. First, take the scenic route. Say yes to serendipity. Wrong turns can be productive. Second, get up from the couch. Sometimes it can be more efficient to do things the hard way. Consider the Internet of Things. It's wonderful to be able to control the lights, set the thermostat, even vacuum the floor without leaving one's seat. But medical research has shown that actually fidgeting, getting up, walking around is one of the best things that you can do for your heart. It's good for the heart and the waistline. Third, monetize your mistakes. Great things can be created by imaginative development of accidents. Tad Lesky, an architect of the Metropolitan Opera at Lincoln Center, was working on a sketch and some white ink fell on the drawing. Other people might have just thrown it away. but Leski was inspired to produce a starburst chandelier that was probably the most notable of its kind in the 21st century. Fourth, sometimes try the hard way. It can be more efficient to be less fluent. Psychologists call this desirable difficulty. Taking detailed notes with a keyboard would seem to be the best way to grasp what a lecturer is saying, to be able to review it verbatim. However, studies have shown that when we have to abbreviate, when we have to summarize what a speaker is saying, when we're taking notes with a pen or pencil on paper, we're processing that information. We're making that our own, and we are actually learning much more actively than we are just transcribing what was being said. Fifth, get security through diversity. Monoculture can be deadly. Remember the potato? It was efficient until it wasn't. Diversity applies to organizations too. Software can tell what has made people in an organization succeed in the past, and it's useful, sometimes, in screening employees. But remember, the environment is constantly changing, and screening software, has no way to tell. And we have no way to tell who is going to be useful in the future. So we need to supplement whatever the algorithm tells us by an intuition and by looking for people with various backgrounds and various outlooks. Sixth, achieve safety through redundancy and human skills. Why did two 737 MAX aircraft crash? We still don't know the full story, but we know how to prevent future tragedies. We need multiple independent systems. If one fails, then others can override it. We also need skilled operators to come to the rescue, and that means constant training. Seventh, be rationally extravagant. Thomas Edison was a pioneer of the film industry, as well as of camera technology, and nobody has done more for efficiency than Thomas Edison. But his cost cutting broke down. His manager hired a so-called efficiency engineer who advised him to save money by using more of the film stock that he'd shot, having fewer retakes. Well, Edison was a genius, but he didn't understand the new rules of feature films, and that failure was becoming the price of success. On the other hand, some great directors like Erich von Stroheim were the opposite. They were superb dramatists, and Stroheim was also a memorable actor, but they couldn't live within their budgets, so that was not sustainable. It was Irving Thalberg, a former secretary with intuitive genius, who first achieved rational extravagance, first at Universal and then at MGM, becoming the ideal of the Hollywood producer. Summing up, to be truly efficient, we need optimal inefficiency. The shortest path may be a curve rather than a straight line. Charles Darwin understood that. When he encountered a tough problem, he made a circuit trail, a sandwalk that he built behind his house. A productive path can be physical, like Darwin's, or a virtual one, or an unforeseen detour from a path we had laid out. Too much efficiency can weaken itself, but a bit of inspired inefficiency can strengthen it. Sometimes the best way to move forward is to follow a circle.